It looks like Ice Spice knows her Venus spirit animal. Hi, you guys. Welcome to the Blueprint. And I am really excited to look at Ice Spice's Venus profile, her beauty and irresistibility profile. Now, everyone has a spirit animal that is assigned when we look at your Venus profile when it comes to bringing the gift of beauty to the world, okay? So, there are some things that are just so in alignment with Ice Spice that I use this blueprint to help me with other blueprints because she has something very special where the dots just connect really, really beautifully. Okay. If you would like to get a Venus profile assessment, right, you can actually book that with me now on my site, and we could go in depth onto your Venus spirit animal, your entire blueprint, and start to put the pieces together ourselves, okay? So let's dive into Ice Spice first. So one of the things about Ice Spice is her Venus in Sagittarius. Now, Venus in Sagittarius brings enlightenment, it brings idealism, it brings the ideal and illumination of archetypes. So, Venus and Sagittarius teach us about archetypes. They show us how to utilize archetypes because their whole Venus aesthetic is about idealism, and they're pulling from archetypal beauties that have already showcased itself in culture and making their own stylish twist on it. So Venus and Sagittarius, they really pull archetypes. They show us how to do it. A lot of people just copy, but a Venus and Sagittarius, they do it in a way in which once they embody the archetype, they're kind of free. They're kind of like able to do any kind of look because their archetype covets them. It's like a protection over them. So Venus here finds an angelic version of herself, a protected version of herself that she can default to. And then as she moves and you do different styles, you always still have this archetype, right? So Ice Spice did this beautifully with Annie. So Annie is the Orphan Annie is a story about a young girl. This was actually a film. That's the one that I know it of. A film in 1982. Now, it might have some even more historical origins than that, but this is where I know her from. Little Orphan Annie has this look of this bright ginger curly hair, red ginger hair, right? And she has very flush face, very not very made up at all, right? Very playful. So Ice Spice's archetype seems to really come from this whole look. But of course, she didn't match it verbatim. She takes the look and makes it her own, integrates it with what she is, where she comes from. Of course, sexualizes the look, and now it is it's a classic look. It is her look. So this is something that all Venuses can do, but Sagittarius is the leader in doing this. And the Venus profile will show you the color palette. So Sagittarius, similar to its counterpoint, which is Venus in Gemini, Sagittarius is kind of like a cornucopia of all of these bright, exotic colors. There is so much more variety in this palette, and Gemini, which is the opposite energy, will kind of use this, but Sagittarius is where it is really, really realized. Okay, so I'm putting on the screen a bunch of other Venus and Sagittarians so you can see the through line with people who have evoked their highest irresistibility, right? And this is also a key here because a lot of people will come to the Venus Blueprint channel and be like, oh, well, I don't dress like this. Well, maybe you don't dress well, or maybe you don't actually know have a formula to follow. Okay, so sometimes we think we dress well, but when you look at your Venus placement, you're gonna see your highest expression. Okay, that's the key. This is not just for you, but it's a gift that you give to the world. And so Venus and Sagittarius, they give this plethora of variety and exoticism to the world. And they're very exotic because they're very much so pulling from cultures that are not their own, mixing it with cultures that are their own. This is a natural thing for Venus and Sagittarius. So you're going to see them like embodying like somebody else's, some other culture's garments, right? And they're definitely, Venus and Sagittarius could definitely be judged for being cultural appropriate types. Like they take from other cultures, but they get away with it because they're deeply lucky, like they're giving a gift to the world of showing you the beauty of unifying and merging, integrating cultures. So usually they have a sense of their own culture, right? Like where they come from, right? And then they mix it with something else. This is something that I've been seeing a lot with Venus and Sagittarius, and Ice Spice is probably one of the top to do it. And she also demonstrates to you the power of art and style and how this will definitely translate. Another incredible Venus and Sagittarius who has done this beautiful mixing of themselves is Nicki Minaj. So the beauty of this is that you almost become a vessel for this this ultimate concept of what beauty can be. And it is usually an archetype of somebody who's spicier, like they're going to have some kind of spice to it. Hence Ice Spice, again, a really good blueprint and archetype. But because Sagittarius has these bright colors, it has like a spiciness to it. It has a it's not obscure, it's not hiding, it's very much so bright. It's a illumination with a lot of colors kind of ordeal. Now, some of the things that actually are classic for Venus and Sagittarius is the fact that they will wear these skater skirts, these types of skirts that flare out, feeling the hips and emphasizing the hips and the thighs. That really helps things to showcase itself. Okay, so if you're Venus in Sagittarius, having things like a garter belt around your thigh, skater skirts, these frilly things around the waist, this is a really good style choice to start utilizing, because it works very well since Sagittarius rules over the thigh areas. Emphasis on the thigh area becomes one of the biggest things. So we finally made it to Ice Spice's spirit animal. This is an actual science, and I'm very excited about it because it keeps reconfirming for me that this formula actually does work. You just have to really dig deep and use your creativity, okay? So we use this by looking at her Venus and putting it into the gene key system. Her Venus is at 2 degrees Sagittarius, which puts her at gene key 34. And within the gene keys, right, in this system, there is an animal that is assigned to it. It's called the life key animal. So the life key animal of her Venus in gate 34 is the bear. I kid you not, it is the bear. And this is where I'm like, this formula is something else, and it's just the tipping point, because it's really about being creative and using your imagination. When you think of a bear, when I first think of a bear, I think of a dark brown bear. But we're also using her Venus in Sagittarius. Remember, I gave you everything about it being light, bright, illuminated. So it's not a dark brown bear for Ice Spice. It's this brighter ginger hair, teddy bear colored bear. And so when I discovered this, I was just like, you know what? Maybe she's being intuitive, but it doesn't matter. This is something that other people can use. And I'm going to use Ice Spice as the example to show you that it's a real science formula. Now, we can go even deeper, which I do in your Venus profiles, utilizing Claire Nakti, who uses the nakshatras. Now, this is a whole other science of astrology, and it does take her Venus and put it in a different zodiac. But either way, it takes her Venus and puts her Venus in the nakshatra of Anuradha. And Claire Nakti says that Anuradha is a beauty of the bunny face beauty. So I went to Pinterest and started looking up bunny beauty aesthetic makeup and found these flesh tone, blushy types of makeup inspirations. So this is how we put together your Venus profile. And I just had to show you Ice Spice to show you the parallels are just so reconfirming that this could work on Ice Spice, it could work on anyone else's chart. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this profile. If you would like me to do any other celebrities that you love, let me know down below and I will get to it. See you in the next one.